Afternoon. Ready
Hello
for
then.
a quick one? Ready for a quick one?
Go for it.
Essentially quick.
Mhm.
I'm going to ask you a question. We're on the topic of fame and dance. The question is, why is the Dance to Health service evaluation not the same as FaME RCT?
That would be like comparing apples and bananas. They're completely different.
You can't compare these, though.
You can't compare these.
They don't even taste the same. They don't even look the same. But they're both fruits. But they're both fruits.
So I'll pick a few holes, I'm afraid, in the service evaluation and the way it's been presented. So just to start off with, FaME has been evaluated now in multiple randomized controlled trials. What that means is that people get enrolled and then they get randomly put into the exercise group or the control group, and they're followed for a period of time. And I might add that one of those followed it for 2 years. And irrespective of whether they stick with the program or not, so even if they leave, their data still counts into the overall, does it reduce falls?
So you can't just forget about them. You can't just push them to one side and say...
You can't forget about them. They were enrolled. They need to be considered in the data. So yes, there is a dropout rate in FaME in all the randomized control trials, but irrespective, their data still remains in the program.
It influences that data outcome.
Absolutely. So falls, as we know, are reduced with FaME. Then the Dance to Health evaluation, they have taken the people that completed the program. So only the people who stuck with it all the way through, and then they're counting their data and they're going, oh, it's more effective than FaME and Otago. No, it's not. You're comparing apples with bananas. You cannot compare a group of completers in one program with everybody that started irrespective and all of their falls data going into the same pot. You can't. They're two different things. So that's the first point. The second point is that essentially they're also looking at falls. Both sets are looking at falls. In the randomized controlled trial, they are followed throughout with monthly falls calendars or phone calls to check people's memory. Well, memory, really. Are they going to remember all their falls? Do they call a fall the same thing as the researcher? Because actually some people count a big trip that scared them, and other people just completely forget about that they had 3 last week and just tell you 1. So you have to follow them up very regularly on their falls. Dance to Health just asked everybody at the end how often they fell, and they asked everybody at the beginning how often they fell. So there's not the same validity of the measurement of falls either. And then the last thing is they've done a huge claim on the cost effectiveness, not giving any detail about how they've done that at all, except saying that in their group of completers, so few of them ended up having any form of GP care or hospital care as a result of their falls. Well, we don't know what that data is because it wasn't presented. But more importantly, I keep going back to the fact that if you compare just completers, i.e. the ones who were generally better in health, because they're always the completers, generally a bit younger, and are going and doing all of the program, all the classes, so they're fitter. You can't compare them with a randomized controlled trial where everybody goes in, irrespective of whether they complete a program, and then you get a return on investment amount at the end of that. Again, it's comparing apples with bananas. You can't compare them. So
it's cherry picking, essentially, isn't it?
It's cherry picking. It's incorrect messaging. It's actually incorrect science. You should never do a return on investment on something that hasn't actually had a robust effectiveness study done first anyway. And there's just, I want to pull my hair out because dance does have a place, and it has a wonderful place in when they leave the structured exercise program to maintain the gains. But at the moment, there's a lot of claims that Dance to Health is more effective than FaME and Otago. It isn't, because they have not been comparing the same things. And if you're going to make that claim, you have to have a very large study, and I'm talking 2,000 odd people probably, where they are randomly put into the Dance to Health, FaME or Otago or a control group. You always have to have a control group in a randomized control trial if you're really going to show effectiveness. So until that study's done, it's not accurate to say that Dance to Health is more effective than FaME and Otago, nor is it more accurate to say it's more cost effective.
The end. Thank you very much.